Good evening. Welcome to the Dracut Connection. I'm Brian Vaughn. I'll be your lead host for this evening. Today is March 26, 2020. I'm Brian Vaughn. Again, I'm going to be your lead co-host for tonight. I've got Mr. John Zimney joining us. Say hello, John.
Hi, Dracut.
I got Mr. Phil Tebow there. Say hello,
Hi,
Phil.
Dracut. Hi, nice to see everyone.
And we got George Bogue with us also.
Hello, all. Thanks for tuning in.
Folks, if you've noticed, we're doing something a little bit different today. You know, with this with the coronavirus going on, we're social distancing. The studio is shut down, other than some essential business that needs to take place. So we're working on a product called Zoom, and we're kind of web based and streaming to you live on Facebook right now. And this also should be playing a little bit later on Dracut Access TV at what, 5:30, guys? 7 o'clock, right? So I just want to open it up. Mr. Zimney, how you doing? What's going on?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. Just like to let folks know that I am monitoring the Facebook page on my phone, so that if you have any questions or you want to chime in, you want to say hello, I'll pick up on that and jump in. But we plan on talking about a couple things tonight. This is going to be a little new. It's going to be new to us, as you said, Brian. It's kind of a delay issue because it's new technology for us, anyways. But I'm glad to be here, and I hope everybody's doing well, and as we're being shut in.
So, Phil, what have you been up to? You still working? What's going on? Anything happening?
You know, somebody asked me if I was at home, and I said Lorraine won't let me stay there. So I'm actually in my office. I am still working, still able to do some things. Steve in my office is working from home on a couple of drafting items, but I was actually out at Salisbury Beach today, meeting with a single client. We walked through a house that he has there, and he had some things to do. So I felt it was safe enough that I could meet him out there, kind of keeping our distances as we need to, but being able to do some work, which is nice. I'd go stir crazy if I wasn't able to do something. Somebody had said to me, you should get a hobby. And I said, my hobby is working.
Phil, you do have a hobby. You like to go to have coffee every day, right? Several times. So that must be really kind of putting a twist in your schedule for the day, right?
Coffee is a necessity, a nectar of the gods. I have not done without it as of yet.
There you go. George, I'm going to reach out to you next. What's going on? You work for BU, is it? And
well,
so
I actually work for the UAW, but I represent BU people, though I am still technically a BU employee on leave of absence. Before I do that, though, on a personal note, my 102-year-old Aunt Winifred Kimball, we used to call her Winnie, passed away this week. So I just wanted to give Aunt Winnie a shout out. And, we're planning a graveside thing next week for the burial, but of course we can't have the funeral or anything now. But as far as work goes, surprisingly enough, there's a lot of HR aspects to this whole, like people working from home or non-essential people and everything. So I've actually had a crazy week and a half, though it's pretty much slowed down now. Now I'm just cleaning up loose ends and, fixing problems come up. But been a busy 2 weeks, let me say that.
So have you, George, have you been working from home, or are you commuting to your location? What's that status?
I've pretty much been working from home. I had to go in one day the end of last week to pay the bills and send, I had to go in, sign the checks, send the stuff. But other than that, it's been work from home.
Yeah. Now, John, you're an Uber driver. You're retired from, you were former director of industrial accidents for the state of Massachusetts, and also worked at housing someplace.
Yeah, well, I worked for the Department of Industrial Accidents as the Director of Investigation for my last 8 years there, and then I went to Mass Housing for 5 years. But yeah, I'm retired now for 5 years, and I have been Ubering as a part-time gig. Did that last year, and I started up again for almost 2 years now. And I also do some substitute teaching at St. John's Prep, where I coach hockey. So I keep myself busy. Of course, school's closed now. No site yet on when they'll reopen, although they're saying May 4th. And as far as Uber is concerned, I stopped Ubering on the 3rd, let me see, the 10th of March, somewhere around there. No, I'm sorry, the 17th of March. And I've been under house arrest. My daughters and my wife put me under house arrest before the governor told us not to go out, because obviously I'm one of those young people that have to be careful because of my age, but and because I had cancer a couple of years ago. So they say you're vulnerable, but I feel good. I feel great. I've had a little bit of a sniffle about 7 or 8 days ago, but nothing now. I'm doing well. Keeping busy around the house. You know how it is.
Yep.
My wife and I are taking a different room every day, and we're cleaning it from top to bottom. Like yesterday, we did the kitchen. Today, we did the dining room. I kind of straightened up my office. As you can see, I put up some stuff for this broadcast. But other than that, I'm just keeping a track of everything. We're started our daily walks again, my wife and I, and just trying to keep busy. But I will tell you this. I know today was a rough morning for me. I got up. I'm usually pretty upbeat. But today, after being in the house now for a week without having any contact, physical contact or face-to-face contact with anybody, including going to the store, I have not done any of that. It's been rough, and today was a kind of rough day.
Right. For me, business-wise, we've been able to work. We had a little bit of downtime here and there, but we're working on a project in Wellesley, a residence, and part of the mandate is, one of the items were that, or is that if you're working public work for, residents, certain construction projects, then you're allowed to go. So my guys have been down on that project in Wellesley. There's other places, like we have some work in Boston, that's been shut down. So we can't do any of that stuff. But, so we've been doing somewhat. I'm trying to stay away. I have an office set up on site down there, and I typically will go down to the project and hang out there and kind of run things and, get some paperwork done down there. But I've been really, I'm going to say for the past 3 weeks, I've been at my home office doing lots of stuff, catching up on some things that, those things that you always wanted to catch up with business-wise, paperwork-wise, but you never do. So it's been a good opportunity to do that. But, very concerned about what's going on out there in the world, as we all are, right? I mean, it's kind of crazy stuff, right? And guys, jump right in. Don't be afraid, John. Like if we were at the studio, I know you'd be stepping all over me to talk. So, jump right in anytime you want.
Hey, Brian, I got a question, and feel free to not answer it. Have you had to lay anyone off?
Well, so, I haven't laid anybody off, and I don't see the need to just yet, but I am concerned about it because, we're on a big residential project, right? When I say, the wire, we've been rough wiring the house since September, and it's just a lot of work. It's a very complex thing. But this particular project, we're going to get caught up. And then if we don't have another project to go to, and we've got some bids out on projects, and, and those projects, one of them's in Boston, and one of them is in Brookline. The Brookline project, they were trying to cut the scope 33% before the actual crisis hit. And of course, the economic catastrophe that went on with the stock market. So I'm not sure what's going to go on. And, I hate to say, if I can carry the guys for a bit, but after a while, I just can't. I'm not the government. I can't carry people forever, right?
Yeah, well, my son does HVAC work, and he was saying of the people he works with, most of them got laid off. I think they're keeping 8 or 10 out of the whole lot, and everyone else got laid off.
Hey, I want to say hi to a couple of people out there that are watching us right now, if you don't mind, Brian.
Yeah, do you think, John?
Yeah, we've got a couple of people looking on. Bob Lemire says hello. Hi guys. We have Charlie Canaveras from the Housing Authority. He's watching in, as well as Cole, one of our retired firefighters. By the way, we want to shout out to all of the firefighters, EMSs, all of our people who are doing all of the hospital work, the doctors, DPH, all those people that are doing great work right now. It's a hard time for them. Amy Van Zicklen, how are you? We're doing good. Amy's a mom of one of the kids we coach. I coach hockey. Great guy, great kid. And I want to say hello to her. But I wanted to put a particular shout out to Tony Archinsky. Selectman Archinsky is currently undergoing some treatment, and they've put him in the hospital just to be sure that everything is good and well. He's not in any kind of danger right now, but they're trying to keep him away from anything. And I mean, the last I heard, he was in the hospital, and we want to send our prayers out to him to get well and get back home. This is a dangerous time for people who are compromised. So we want to keep those people in our thoughts and prayers.
John, while you're at it, we got to give credit to the folks working for the town. The interim town manager, even Selectman Forcia, yes. And the rest of the board. They've done a great job, getting things going. We may judge them when they do things not so well, and we certainly got to give them credit when they do. So
this is you're absolutely right, Brian. This is a difficult time, and we're here to watch when things are going a little bit astray, and we'll call out people, and we have, and people don't like it, but that's what we do. We do it that way, but we also want to make sure that we give, kudos to those that are still working. Town manager, the interim town manager has done a very good job of trying to manage in a very difficult time. There are still issues that are going on that we're gonna slide by them now, because we want to try to help people do the job as best they can under very trying circumstances. Jesse Forcier has done a great job, as has many of the members of the Board of Selectmen. By the way, guys, I know you don't have a drink because we're not in the studio, but I wanted to make sure I send a toast out to Joe DeRocco, because we've been giving him a toast every time. There's a big smile by everybody else. So Joe DeRocco, as long as you're quiet and off the air, we're happy.
Maybe I can give a shout out to Mary, who's in the other room. I don't know if she can hear me, but Mary, can you get me a drink? We're toasting to Joe DeRocco here. Maybe she'll bring me something else.
I'd like to echo the same regards for Jesse Forcier. I think he's been doing a fantastic job of trying to keep the citizens of the town informed of what's happening with the Board of Selectmen, including, the manager, the town manager interviews and such. I know they've been delayed, but I've been in contact with him about what the screening committee has done, trying to get the minutes together so they can get released for his information. That, of course, has been delayed, but I think overall he's been doing a very good job in the leadership role that the selectmen have put him in.
Michelle Kaufman just jumped in, guys, and said that she's happy that we're doing a show, and thank you for it. I wanted to touch briefly, Brian, on the open meeting law stuff. because people are going to be a little bit concerned about that. And I know that they have relaxed some of the open meeting law. And one of the things they've done is been able to, they can telephonically have a meeting. And you're seeing some of that happening now on the planning board. The planning board had a couple of meetings already. I think they had one last night and they have one tonight, I believe. But I
believe it's ZBA tonight.
What's that?
I believe it's the ZBA tonight, Zoning Board of Appeals tonight.
Oh, okay, ZBA. Okay, thanks for that correction. But the only thing I want to caution people about, and caution the Board of Selectmen, because I know that now that everything is relaxed, somebody may try to be too relaxed. You still cannot have meetings that are not posted, that are not public, that you can't call and form consensus. So you can't have a department head or a manager or a member of the Board of Selectmen calling around asking for consensus on what to do. If you have to make a decision and it needs official documentation of it, you have to have a meeting and you have to do it publicly. So that rule has not been relaxed, and you got to be careful because that's the kind of stuff that will creep in during a time like now. So, and I think that Jesse will certainly do it. I know that Tammy Dristaleris is right on top of stuff like that, as is Tony, and so I'm confident that it won't happen. But we need to keep an eye on it. What do you say there, George?
Yeah, no, I want to echo what you guys are saying. I think the town's done a great job so far of taking care of business. I guess the next step hopefully is, as they start trying to open stuff up again, like Trump wants to do in a couple of weeks, then that'll give them a little more leeway. But yeah, for now, it's kind of crisis management. I think they're doing a good job.
I've also got to put a big shout out to the folks at Dracut Access TV. They've been doing a great job of telecasting these meetings and helping get those on board. Again, you mentioned earlier that the planning board met last night. Dracut Access TV recorded it. I think they were able to take phone calls if that need be. Tonight they have the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. And I'm speaking with Gary Muse, the executive director. The town might even do some other things, some informational type things. And in fact, I think right now they're doing something with Laurie Trahan.
That was at 4 o'clock, Brian.
What's that, John?
That was at 4 o'clock. She had a telephone conference that was aired over DATV. It was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Did they talk at all about the bill that just passed?
What's that?
Did they talk at all about the emergency bill that actually Congress hasn't voted on it yet, right? They're voting tomorrow, I think. Did you talk about that at all?
Well, I did not listen long because I had other things going on around the house, but I probably should have. I'm sure she did. I'm sure she touched on that.
So if, I'd like to get into a little bit about the, the COVID-19 virus itself. And I've got this, getting to learn this program a little bit, the Zoom. I can actually put up a screen that I wanted to kind of chat about. This is the John Hopkins coronavirus screen. It's the map. I don't know if is that up right now? Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so it's great. This is a great tool for you folks out there that that want to know what's going on. Where things are. The folks that are confirmed to have the virus, the total deaths, and then the total folks that recovered. And of course, this is only the people that we know that were actually screened, right? Because if you're not screened, then how can you fit into this category? But obviously China's got the most. There's 523,000 confirmed, right? And China's sitting at 81,782. Italy is at 80,000. In fact, the United States, we're sitting at 80,000 right now. And if I click on the United States and kind of zoom into that area, right? And this does zoom pretty quick, so I got to be careful. Total deaths in the United States. Is that 1,178 that I'm seeing there?
I can't see that.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's on the right-hand side, right? And I can actually, I'm going to try to move this screen over to the, I do have a text from Gary here. So for those that missed it, Laurie Trahans, yeah, Tail Town Hall, yeah, we got that. And that, what I can actually go into each particular town. I can go into New York and bring that up. There's a total of 281 deaths in New York. Washington, there's 100. There's and actually, if I go back to, so they're showing, you know, the 526,000 now it's up to. It just jumped 3,000 since we clicked. There's 23,000 deaths and a total of 123,000 that have recovered. Now, obviously, the number is going to change quite a bit because we don't know who, you know, people haven't been tested yet, right? So that's what we're hearing, right? That there's a bunch of people out there that have had the virus, recovered from it, and that we don't know about. So these numbers are going to continue to change quite a bit, right? Any input, guys?
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, I've been seeing they run this on Fox every night, so I'm kind of familiar with the map. But you know, as far as I understand it, it's still, you know, the big problem spots are, you know, New York, Washington, and you know, a couple of parts of California. So I mean, you know, the spread doesn't seem to be as alarming as they were initially leading us to believe, I think.
So when I click on New York, because you just mentioned that, right? I'm seeing total deaths of 385. I see zero recovery. I don't get that.
Yeah,
I'm
but a
not
lot
too
of
sure.
that, I think, you know, to be recovered, you have to test negative twice. So, I mean, there are people who could be through the worst of it that just haven't completely recovered yet. So that number's going to rise too.
That data may not be available right now, but there's a lot more that have recovered than obviously have died. So you have, unfortunately, we don't want to lose anybody. But
All right, so I'm going to stop this share and get us back on there.
all right.
And if there's something you guys want me to bring up, I can do that, you know?
Can you
It's,
hear me?
We got you, John.
Okay. There's a lot more that have recovered, obviously, than have died, and hopefully it continues that way. But the number of deaths is precipitatively less than 1% of those who get the virus. That's what we've all been told, anyways, and we continue to pray that number continues to get down and go down. My daughter is a nurse at Beverly Hospital, and there's been about 8 or 10 cases, and there's been a few deaths already, unfortunately. We know that we have heard today from the Department of Public Health, there was an advisory sent out that there is one person who's tested positive in Dracut, and that person naturally will be unnamed because of HIPAA laws, but that person is in the self-quarantine and is not in the hospital. A few more people have joined us. Sissy Cronk, John McDonough. Say hi to John McDonough, guys.
Yeah,
John, how are you?
Hello, John.
Rich Cowan has chimed in, and he says that the United States has surpassed in the amount of positives. We know that that'll happen. We don't know whether China's figures are to be believed.
Yeah, you can't trust anything they say.
What's that?
You can't trust anything they say.
Oh, that's for sure. Well, I just want to throw this out. How do you think the president's been doing? I think it's cut right down the line the way it has been since he walked down that escalator, that, it's 50% of the people think he's doing a good job and 45% of the people think he's doing a horrible job. So there's no in between.
My opinion, my opinion is I was so happened to be watching Anderson Cooper the other night, and he was lamenting the fact that Trump was trying to be optimistic and bring hope, and it brought to mind a scene from the movie Excalibur where Merlin is trying to put Morgana into oblivion, and he shouts at her, "Look into the eyes of the dragon and despair. I confine you to oblivion." It's like, he's kind of wringing his hands, and we should, it was just so pessimistic. And I know that it's a dire situation, certainly. But a leader should also be instilling hope in the people that he's leading. And I think that's what Trump is doing. He's not trying to, put a shine on it, but he's trying to be optimistic. Let's hope that we can get back to some normalcy for Easter. I mean, that's what a lot of people are thinking. When is this going to be over? Well, let's have some hope.
Rich, he agrees with us that China is definitely, lying to us about the totals. Hey, Rich, if you want to join in, let me know. We'll send you an invite, and you can come on and talk about some of those figures. You're a great numbers guy. Maybe you'd like to come on. We'll include you in this little soiree here.
I just want to say that I received a letter in the mail today. I don't know if you can see that from the Trump administration, and essentially saying what we should be trying to do, guidelines for America. It wasn't the 15 days that Mike Pence keeps holding up, but good information.
Yeah,
I'm in the same neighborhood, so I got the same thing in the mail today. But as far as Trump's doing, I mean, I just think the fact he's out there for an hour a day taking questions, and he has the team with him, I think that reassures a lot of people. And, the people that hate him are going to hate him. But, I find it's funny that the thing that he's getting attacked on most is, as usual, just like, his delivery and his speaking style, not really on the substance of what he's doing. Substantially, it seems like he's doing, more things right than he's not. I mean, a lot of the problem here is just logistics, getting, things where they're needed from where they are. And it seems to me that, you see it in the supermarket. That's starting to straighten itself out now.
So I'd like to chat a little bit about the economy, right? Because as you've seen, right, the stock market has just kind of fallen through the
well, it was up again.
Trump.
Was up again today.
What's that, George?
52%.
It was up again today.
Correct. Today. But I mean, it dropped. It dropped like huge amount, right? I mean, it's never dropped so much, in forever, right? So my concern is the economy and setting into a deep depression, not a recession, because we're in a recession, right? But the depression, right? Where, everybody's built a little bit of wealth over the past few years, and that's just been totally wiped away. If you guys have a 401k, or if you got any money in the stock market, the value of your real estate, all those things have taken a huge hit. We talk about the people getting laid off. What's going on now is the towns, the government, a lot of private industry have furloughed folks, right? Where they've asked them to stay home and not come to work, and they're paying them. But how long can that go on? So I've got John McDonough, who just chimed in. And John, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but you need to allow your microphone to work, and so your mic's working. John, are you there? And your video.
Right. You hear me?
John, how are you?
You see your picture though. Yeah, hi Johnny.
Hey John, how are you?
I'm doing great. We can't see your picture though. You gotta put the video on too.
I don't know what button to push here. Let me try.
Are you on your phone?
Oh, wait a second.
There should be a little camera symbol down the bottom.
Okay.
Well, John, while you get that working, we'll have the boys continue to talk, and I also invited Rich Rich Cowan into the conversation if he gets email. Okay, there's John McDonough. Oh,
There we
he was
go.
there for-
Johnny?
There you are, John.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Turn that
I'm doing great. How are
camera
you
sideways. There you go.
George, you in the car?
I am. It's a long story. My laptop crashed this morning, so to use the phone, it's just as easy to be in the car.
Well, just don't touch it because the drinking cops will pull you over and give you a ticket.
No, I ain't going anywhere. I'm in the
All right,
driveway.
Good boy.
So John, I've been following your show, City Life, every morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. I tune in. We appreciate you keeping the folks of Dracut informed of what's going on. It's always a great show, and we're glad to have you here. How you been surviving?
I'm surviving just fine. We had a couple of scares within the family to be tested for coronavirus, but they came back negative, so everybody's happy. My wife's wearing out a set of rosary beads, praying for everybody. So we're going to good. Thank God everybody's healthy. Thank you. How about you?
Praying's a good thing, John. Praying's a good thing.
Yes, it is. So, John, it looks like you're going to vote for Trump.
Oh, absolutely. You know that. You know that. You know his approval rating has gone up, much to the chagrin of many of his naysayers over this whole thing. I think he's done a tremendous job, but I know George isn't going to like this, but I also want to give Charlie Baker some kudos. He's doing a pretty good job of keeping people informed and doing what he has to do to try to calm the situation. I don't like it when he interjects his disdain for Trump, as I don't like it when the media does it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Baker on the whole has been pretty good. I mean, I think Cuomo has been pretty good. I'm trying to figure out how the Democrats are going to ditch Biden and get Cuomo on the ticket at this point.
Cuomo's starting to grind on me, though. He comes on like some of the stuff he's doing. It sounds like he's trying to be the grandfather, telling everybody what they should be doing. And I mean, for a while, it's a little grindy.
I did think it was a little silly when he was giving a speech that they didn't have enough equipment when he was in front of a big pile of masks that were just sitting behind him.
Exactly.
But on the whole, again, I think Cuomo's done a good job, and Baker. You know, no one's going to get everything right, but I think they're setting the right tone.
Yes, I think he has too.
What is Mr. Tito?
There's one thing that I know that Charlie Baker is closed schools until May 4th now, and you're starting to get a lot of people saying that there's an overreaction. But the only thing I can really say to that is, if he's done it at the right time, later on we'll be able to say we overreacted.
Right.
Well, what I'd like to say to the governor is, let's cut off your check, effective today, and see how you like it.
He's an old money guy, though. It won't affect him.
The governor has no trouble sending every small businessman home until he's doggone good and ready to decide, well, it's safe to come back to work. So, okay, Charlie, I respect that. Let's shut off your check until you decide it's okay to go back to work. It's not fair to the small businessman. We have everybody who works for the government is still getting a check. That's fine and dandy. But let's shut off Charlie's check and see what happens.
You don't think the $1,200 that's going to be given out by Congress and the president is good enough, John?
Well, waiting until May 4th or May 7th to go back to work, we don't have a solution for these poor kiddos. So you're halfway through. I gave this example this morning. I was talking to Evelyn Thorin and Bob Hoey, both school committee veterans. And what's the solution? You're halfway through 5th grade, you're just starting long division, and they cut it off. Now next year they're gonna say, oh, don't worry, Johnny. Next year you're going into the 6th grade. The 6th grade teacher expects me to already and you to already be able to process long division.
I agree.
I'm gonna capture
I think Mr. Zimney's having trouble with long division still. So. Sorry, Johnny.
Thank God calculating.
So John, that's one of my concerns too, right? And I sent you the message today. I sent you a text message today, and I put that on my Facebook page. You know, at what point do we consider, and I don't know if we can do this or not, but what point, like, if these people are not going to teach for the rest of the year, if these, you know, for the rest of, until September, at what point do we lay them off? And, you know, all the government workers, if they're working from home, that's great. But if they can't work at all, you know, can we lay them off? They get to collect money, and then those tax dollars are still sitting in a kitty, and maybe next year we don't have to raise the levy 2.5%. You know, maybe there's some type of savings to help the guy who's sitting at home that can't afford to stay in his house anymore because his taxes are too high. You know, being a sole proprietor, you know, I can't collect unemployment. John, you can't collect unemployment. And yeah, we've got some money stashed away, but our expenses are high, and you know, we take care of our employees, and all those things cost money. It always seems like we, you know, the small business guy always gets the short end of the stick. What say
But
you?
you got a coffee can in your backyard full of $1 bills like Brian and John McDonough?
I don't know about that.
Brian, they're just jealous. That's all. It's just jealous.
Well, jealous of our good looks, John. Right?
My understanding
Irish
of
looks.
the bill that was passed is that self-employed people will be able to collect unemployment now. So
Correct.
I think they're trying to try to get as many people as possible. So now if you throw your public workers into that could send the whole thing into another tailspin, I would imagine, because there's another 20% of the working population that's going to start collecting. And you know, what pocket do you take it out of, essentially?
Yeah, I mean, since they're government workers anyway, what's the difference whether they're getting their paycheck or getting unemployment? It's still coming from the government.
Right.
But it's not coming out of the town budget.
I don't know.
And-
But guys, I don't think you're going to get unemployment rate the same as your paycheck. It's going to be a lot.
No.
Let's say, for instance, you're making 74 grand a year, just for the sake of conversation. I know all you Dracut tears make a lot more than that, but we'll say you make 74 grand a year. Now that you're eligible for the money that Trump's going to dole out, but unemployment is not going to pay you 74 grand a year. So how are you going to make your mortgage? How are you going to pay for your kid's cell phone? There's going to be a lot of problems happen because people are going to be delinquent in their payments. I still say the short-term fix to this is you take these big shots who are calling the shots. Let's just shut the state down. You take Charlie Baker's pay away. Okay, Charlie, thank you. Go get on the.
I don't disagree at all. I agree fully with that. I think that they should be under the same suffering that we are, especially Congress. Some of the stuff they put in that bill, and I don't know, Phil, you might have read it. I don't know who else have read it. I mean, I've tried getting through some of it. As a Uber driver, I think I'm eligible to go on unemployment, even though
yes, you will be. So you'll get. So you have Massachusetts unemployment, and then the federal government is putting an additional $600 on top of that. So if you max out in Massachusetts at $600 a week, you've got the federal government that's putting an additional $600 a week into that. So you're getting $1,200. And that was a big argument with some of the Republican senators that they're saying, well, you've just made it too attractive to go back to work.
Yeah. It's official, by the way. Fox just reported that that U.S. has overtaken China in the amount of reported cases. I think that it's going to be important. Phil, is there any mechanism, or maybe George, somebody can answer? Is there a mechanism now that somebody can go to unemployment to file for this particular period of time?
I mean, I don't know, but the federal thing won't be in effect because it hasn't actually officially passed. I mean, I do know this is a big problem, from talking to other people like in the regional union, because we're pretty much New York and New England. Like we represent people at casinos and stuff. All those people were just basically dumped on unemployment last week. I mean, if you saw the numbers that came out, I think there was like a 20% spike this week in new claims. I'm sure that will be the same next week.
Well, last week was 3.2 million people filing for unemployment.
Yeah.
Nationwide, I believe. But even I think I saw a number somewhere that the state of Massachusetts, it was a 20% increase.
I'm guessing it'll be more than that next week.
Yeah, I imagine it'll probably be another 20, 30%. Because again, this has been unfolding, and I've seen it at work. Like, you know, there were departments at the university that were, you know, they were doing remote work by the end of last week, and there were a few this week that were lagging. So again, this is kind of a slowly rolling disaster.
Well, I think it's come to that point in time where we really need to start looking at, and I don't know, I'm not going to say I know that, you know, this virus is going to get worse, it's going to get better. I don't think anybody really knows, right? But I think the folks in charge need to start looking at, you know, when does that scale tip where the economic hardships, you know, supersede the deaths, and every death is major and counts, and everybody that's, you know, nobody wants to see anybody die, but financially you can't have this country just go completely broke, and you know, you can't borrow money from another country because they're all going broke. We need to start the economy. We need to consider starting the economy again and getting things rolling. I think we can absorb what just happened, but we got to start to look out and say, when, you know, what is that tipping point? When, you know, as the curve starts to flatten out, when are we going to be able to get to work and start making money?
Well, I think, you know, it's like a lawnmower. You know, when you take the lawnmower out of the garage the beginning of the spring, it takes a few times to get it running. You know, when you're halfway through the lawn and it stalls, you can usually fire it up again quick. So I agree with you. If we can limit this to, you know, if realistically Easter is a time we can start getting things back to normal, then, you know, it will be a disaster as opposed to a catastrophe if it drags on.
Well, how did it get this bad? Like, if you look at how many people have actually died from this, it's like not even nowhere near even 10% of 1% of the population. This is more people get killed by cars today in Massachusetts than the coronavirus. And here we have the whole nation shut down. Now, Hampshire, I'm understanding, I haven't read it yet, but I heard down at Hampton Beach today that effective Friday night, you are in lockdown in New Hampshire. You can't leave your house.
Governor Sununu announced that today, yeah.
So I'm going to put up on the screen while we're chatting, I'm going to go back to John Hopkins and then put up the stats, and you'll see that there's where is it? Okay, I'm going to share this, get this back up. You're going to see there's 23,000 deaths. Now, I hate, you know, again, every death is you know, terrible, and we don't want one person to die, right?
Right,
you know,
that's worldwide, don't forget. That's not us.
Well, that's worldwide, correct. If you look at, you know, the United States, we're down to 1,178, and every one of them is terrible. But to have the, you know, and that's why the government, the people that are in charge, it's their responsibility to balance, you know, the well-being of its citizens, but also the well-being of the economy of this country, or otherwise we're going to be, you know, thrown back, you know, into the Stone Age, right? So,
Brian, I still say that if the government had decided, you know what we're going to do, effective tomorrow, if you go to work, you got to wear gloves, you got to wear a face mask, and you have to have eye protection. And if everybody was sent out the door to do that, we could still go to work. It's not hard to wear this stuff, but instead the government decides, stay home, and you don't listen for a check. We're all on welfare. This is not right.
Well, you know, the thing is, they didn't have all the gloves and the masks and all that stuff a few weeks ago. Part of the problem is producing that and shipping it where it's needed. Because as I said earlier, this is isolated. I mean, New York's got a problem. Washington has a problem. Boston might be developing a problem. But there's parts of the country that are fine. So, I mean, if they start reopening, what you're going to see is, you know, there'll be hot spots in various places that they might have to lock down. But for the vast majority of the country, everything will be, a regular flu season where people will get this and most of them will get better. Some of them will get sick. Some of them will die. But, I think what they were scared of was everyone would get sick at the same time and the medical system would get swamped. Now that they've had enough time to do this prep work and move the stuff where it's needed and get the productions up on the stuff they're going to need in the future, it seems to me that now they should start looking at a reopening.
Or at least give us a period of time saying, hey, in another month or another week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, I think we're going to get back to work. Then people have, but dragging the unknown is killing the stock market. And right. Yes, since the stimulus package got awarded, and we could talk about the stimulus package and all the goodies that certain people wanted to get in there, all their little pet projects. I mean, how terrible is that?
John Lynch Cross just chimed in, Brian.
Come on. John, don't even quote the man. Leave the man.
I wonder if he's the one that tested positive. Who knows?
He said that he thinks that the deaths are going to go over $80,000 and $80,000 in the next 4 months, even if we continue to practice the social distancing.
I mean, the social distancing only took place less than a week and a half ago or so, and if it's a 2-week gestation period. So, you have to extrapolate that, okay, if everybody is isolated from each other from this point, then you're not hitting the high until 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, you'll still see cases that are coming in and deaths for the next 2 weeks that keep going up. And hopefully that's the top of the curve. And then you can start seeing it decline again.
The other thing too is now that
80 million people sick.
Now they've got the testing stuff that's supposedly in the pipeline, and they're testing more people every day. So, again, I think everyone talks about like how many people die from the flu. Now that they have the ability to test and track where people are sick, then maybe we get the regular flu season that everyone says is bad, worse than the virus. But again, you're not getting that exponential growth, which is what was scaring people at the beginning.
George, let me ask you a question. Is your vehicle moving?
It is not.
I
fidget a lot, so I'm moving.
Let me
John,
ask Timothy a question. John, are you at the White House or what's going on with you?
Me?
Yeah, are you at the White House? Where are you?
I'm at the house on Arlington Ave in Dracut.
You're at home.
I'm home.
Your wife lets you decorate like this?
Yes, I did. Just
she's a princess, I'll tell you.
My wife is the best.
You're still at work?
I'm still at work.
You workaholic, you.
Somebody said get a hobby, and this is my hobby.
And then
John McDonough, let me
Bond in his kingdom. Brian, you got to speak up. Let's see your kingdom here.
Well, yeah. This is my man cave. This is my home office. So, John, I've got to ask you a question. I've got to make a comment to you because we've all been on City Life. I think everybody here, maybe even George has been there. And whenever we're on City Life, what is one thing that John McDonough tells us to do? He always says, don't look at each other when you're talking. Watch that camera. So this Zoom program, John, makes you watch that camera. We're not turning sideways looking at the other person there. That's one of John McDonough's little pet peeves, right?
Well, the audience is right there. That's where the audience is. That's where you're going to look at.
John Cross says he loves you too, laughing out loud. John, how has this affected your business? Has it affected your business in any way?
Natalie, okay, when you lose somebody you love,
right,
you got a broken heart, okay? And the funerals that we have in America, usually your friends show up, they lift up your spirit. Your relatives show up, they lift up your spirit. And that can't happen now because only 10 people can go to a funeral. So we have different methods that we're using to incorporate more people to go to these private funerals. But as short term it's going to be, you still got a broken heart. If somebody you love should head off to heaven, you got a broken heart. And what's going to lift up your spirit? 10 people. That's it. So we're looking for methods to get more than 10 people to participate in an event, 10 at a time for sure, but to get 10 people more to come in and rattle your spirit in a good direction. I was going to say shake your hand, but we can't do that. And
Right.
it's changed things. I mean, John, if God forbid something happens in your family or anybody who's on the panel today, more than 10 people are going to want to go to your funeral. And so your wake is going to happen at Market Basket.
Yeah.
Over the next year. So it's for the families that are involved, it's very tragic. I'm sure all my peers in the funeral service feel the same way.
Are you taking any extra precautions on your own with the job, other than
What happens, John, is when somebody passes away, you use universal precautions. When we go to a hospital or a nursing home, we have no idea what the cause of death is. So we use what's called universal precautions. If the family should tell us, look, my mother died of a contagious disease, we take superior universal precautions. By that, I mean, all they do is they would then put on a face mask, would then put on goggles. But for the regular home death, nursing home death, hospital death, that's usually not the case.
John, did I ever tell you that I used to work for a funeral home in Chelsea?
Yes, little tidbits you give me of that. Not much, but
Yes,
little...
many moons ago. But
guys, I wanted to make a comment about how the United States just surpassed China in the total confirmed cases. Obviously, we all know that most countries are not going to check as much as we are, right? They're not going to test as much as we are. Certainly, China is not testing or giving.
John, Brian, you can't get tested. That's the problem. You can feel as if, okay, I have all the symptoms. I went on the internet. I looked at all the symptoms. I got them all. You call your doctor, and your doctor says, well, you're not sick enough to have a test.
wow.
Right. I get it.
Brian,
I mean, there's only so many tests available, and you probably have to present a certain amount of, you got to fill in the gaps. You got to be, over this age and have, this issue and that issue in order to get tested. I'd hate to see, testing being wasted. I hate to say wasted, but used on folks that aren't really that sick, right? But as we all have been hearing, we are going to find out that there's folks that are walking around that have been positive and gone through the whole virus that didn't even know it. There's going to be some testing later. I just got a text from Gary, who's setting this up to go on Dracut Access TV, and he's telling me we got 5 minutes left, boys. So we got 5 minutes if you want to get anything out and talk about it.
So let me ask you guys this question, okay? Why not leave Ann Vandal in the driver's seat for a year and just see how it goes? What's wrong with that?
not in favor of that. Definitely not in favor of that.
I understand you don't have a say. What's wrong with that? She's running the town right now. What's wrong with the running the town?
I don't have a say. I'm
You don't have a conversation.
the electorate, John. I have a say. I mean,
Okay.
you don't have to take my say, but I have a say. I'm a taxpayer. But I don't think that I think that you've got to go on with the process, complete the process. Our charter calls for it. And I think that delaying it will only hurt the town in the long run. And just let it go. Let the process go. I know that people that are, fully on board with her and want her will say what you just said, but that I don't believe is what.
John, when you turned the faucet on this morning, did water come out?
She has nothing to do with that.
Okay. When you call the police department, do they show up at your house?
She has nothing to do with that.
They pick up your trash?
Yeah, okay.
The town seems to be operating quite nicely as it is.
Yeah.
I don't see the holes in your argument is it's running fine. She's running the town now. Yes or no?
In my opinion, she's running the town as an interim and doing a good job of it, but she's not, in my opinion, capable of doing the job.
Direction the town should be going in, right now. I think, say what you want about Jim. Jim was the previous town manager. I mean, he had some rough edges, but, he did bring a lot of economic development into town. He's generated a lot of future revenue. And, and I think that's the direction that this town should continue to go in. And I'm not sure if Ann is that person to do that.
Brian,
I mean,
she's
I
stuck
don't know.
the car is in park. Now, Jim Duggan, I love the guy, did a great job. I think it was a big mistake to let him go, but it's gone. We can't get him back. But right now, Ian Vandal's told, leave it in park, go nowhere. Listening to you, George, sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think she should be interviewed with the 4 finalists. I mean, she's basically the incumbent. I agree she's doing a pretty good job. I think she should at least have a chance to go in and fight for her job in the interview.
Philip?
I'm the only one who has had the privilege of actually interviewing these 4 gentlemen, and I think that the process should go forward. I think these gentlemen certainly they can certainly handle the situation that I think we're in. So,
boys, gentlemen, I gotta interrupt. We've got less than a minute left. I need John to wrap this up for Dracut Access TV. Close it, but we can stay on for a few minutes longer for Facebook. Go ahead, John.
Okay, so what I'm going to say right now, you want me to wrap it up, Brian? I'm going to say to the folks over here at Dracut, we're going to continue on Facebook a little bit for a little bit of time, but for the purposes of the show, we're going to, Brian, you can run that, run the ending, what do you call it, the exit video you usually do. But we wanted to thank everybody for joining us today. John, thanks for coming in. George, Phil, Brian. Until next time, stay connected.
All right. So I'm sure Gary's plugged in the ending of